Hey everybody, Dr. Riche here, and I wanted to do a video to do an announcement. I mean, we're practically at the end now of the class, right? And I just wanted to touch base with you guys real quick, encourage you, first of all, to keep on getting the work done. If you have not finished all of the papers, get the papers done. You know, you should be done with those quizzes and getting the discussions all completed. Hopefully you're reviewing material, getting ready for the final exam. Remember, the final exam only covers the second half of class. But I also want to take a moment just to review some concepts, because as I was going through the discussions for the week in grading, I saw a trend that I wanted to make sure that I clarified personally with you guys, and that's an understanding of atheism and New Age faith, the New Age religion, you could say, really, and the atheistic worldview. Actually, I like the term worldview. I will say that there's this view of how to understand just everything in life, and that idea is called worldview. I've actually, here, give me a second. I'm going to find a book. Here, 1 second. There's a book I have that actually speaks specifically to this point. And nope, not that one. That one is the wrong one here. Here it is. I accidentally grabbed a book about the history of a particular family in Hopkinsville. Actually, if you're interested, this book, Starlings of the White House, that's a book about a family of Hopkinsville history. But now I was looking for this one. Okay, so this is only speaking specifically about Christian worldview, yes. That Bavinck, he's a very famous theologian and Christian ethicist. But this idea of worldview is a German concept originally, and it just says that there's a way of framing your understanding of reality, that you have this way of thinking about life. In fact, there's another book. I know I'm keep leaving the camera, but there's another book I have for you. And this is where, to a degree, I wish that we could meet in person, but it's just not the nature of life and all that stuff. But there's another one, Worldview, okay? These books are great because they really just they dig into this idea that everybody has a worldview. Every culture, every society, every government, every individual has a worldview, a way that we explain reality. Why do you believe that it's correct to sit in a chair on your bottom and not sit on your feet? Well, you can sit there, you can list all kinds of things about form and function and everything else. But at the end of the day, you have a worldview. Believe it or not, you have a worldview that says that there is a right way to sit in a chair, and it is one way and not another. And if you encountered somebody who sat in a chair entirely differently than you, they would also have a worldview that says it's correct to sit in a chair one way and not another. And you guys would have this clash of worldviews, as it were. You have to come to terms with it and say, okay, is one of our worldviews right and the other one wrong? Or do our worldviews need to expand? Do our worldviews need to change? What's going on here? This is the idea of worldview, all right? Why do you say all this, Dr. Riche? Well, here's what I'm getting at. I include atheism and New Age religion in our discussion of Intro to Religious Studies because these are two worldviews that deserve to be treated with equal footing to the other ones. So when we talk about, the basic, your generalized mainline faiths that you have around the world with Buddhism, Hinduism, Abrahamic faiths, right? Those are the basic ones. We don't cover Taoism, but we could. But you can understand Taoism a little bit if you understand Buddhism. Same thing with Confucianism. You can understand that if you understand Buddhism. You can understand the Sikh religion if you understand some Hinduism and a little bit of the Abrahamic faiths. So I chose those ones because they give you a basic understanding. But here's the thing. Atheism and New Age also are important worldview dynamics that are distinct. Let's talk about New Age first. The New Age worldview is a worldview that says that there is indeed a very real supernatural reality that is in play in this world, a supernatural realm that very much so affects this natural realm. That where we exist here in this place, it is physical, it is real, but there is also a supernatural realm that interacts with it and works within it and affects it and can be affected by it. Okay, this is something that they hold within that worldview, which is a worldview belief that is true in just about all the other religions, right? I mean, Buddhism believes that, Hinduism believes that, Abrahamic faith believes that, right? So they all believe that. Okay, that's common. But here's the difference. Within the New Age worldview, they say that this other realm is not as restrictive as the traditional religions lead you to believe. that this other realm is far more expansive and far more free and far more liberal, far more relatable, far more personal. And so if I say, you know what, I found the crystals work for healing my earaches, but at the same time I also pray facing Mecca when it is that I get a stomach ache. Like New Age says that I can pull from any and every source out there if that source actually speaks to what is going on within me. And that reality also means that what I pull to for me might not work for you, and that's okay. It doesn't make my thing less true, it doesn't make your thing more true. This New Age view is really a decentralizing of faith that says that everybody can be, for lack of a better phrase, everybody can be a god unto themselves if they only learn how to understand what is going on at the spiritual level. And so in this sense, New Ageism is almost like a democratization of faith, as it were, of elevating the voice of the individual to the point where it says that there is no hierarchy that needs to be recognized above my own voice. Now, at the same time, within New Age movements, you might find spiritual leaders that they will sit there and they will elevate themselves and say, I am the leader of this particular group and we have the one truth. And then you have some people being gathered around them. And that is true. That can happen. And that does happen to a degree. But still, even in those enclaves and in those societies, in those gatherings of people, what you find is there is still this universality of it, this liberality, if you will, that says that there is a way of understanding the world that is not so restrictive. That is the basis of New Age, okay? Then you have the atheistic worldview. Now, I want to also stress this idea that I'm saying atheistic, A-T-H-E-I-S-M. I'm saying that because of a number of you guys I saw in your post, you said theism. And you need to realize that theism is the belief in God, okay? That there is a divine power, there is God. Theistic faith, pretty much everything but Buddhism that we've been studying so far this term is a theistic religion, okay? Buddhism is not theistic. Buddhism does not believe in a God per se, but all the other faiths are. Atheism is the belief that there is no God. So that A is important. The A means no. So you've got to make sure you're saying that. I didn't mark off points on the discussions, but if you did not say atheistic, technically you need to realize that you were saying the opposite of what you're meaning to say. Atheism is the belief that there is no God and also that there is no supernatural. There is no hidden thing going on in some higher realm that impacts and influences us. There might be something going on at a metaphysical or a quantum physics sort of level. There might be some sort of scientific knowledge we've yet to achieve that will give us a better understanding. But the reality is that anything that I think of as supernatural is really something that is just physical and not yet fully understood. That is the basis behind atheism. Many people would say that atheists, then they worship science as their religion. And that's not really true because there are plenty of atheists who also don't agree with science, who also don't like a lot of things going on within scientific movements and things of that sort. And there are plenty of people who love science who aren't atheists. And so it's not so much that science is the religion of atheism, so much as that atheism is saying there is no God. And we believe strongly that there is no God. That is atheism. Now, you can sit there and say, well, that sounds horrible, that sounds bad, that means that results in a world without morality. They say otherwise. And if you did the extra credit, what is it? Honest Doubt, actually, the book of that. I'm not going to get another book. But Honest Doubt is a really good book of a series of essays just talking to the rationality of having the atheistic stance. I will say this. I am not an atheist, but I do not believe atheists are necessarily irrational. I disagree maybe with their conclusion of there being no God, but they come to that conclusion for very rational, personal, real reasons. They have experiences that confirm for them this belief. They have understandings and knowledge that confirm for them this belief. And I say belief because as I was talking with a guy the other weekend, and I was explaining to him about atheism as a religion, and I said to him, you know, there are those who would argue that atheism is not a faith. I said, but it is a faith. It's a faith that there is no God. And I reminded him that logically speaking, within the realm of logic and philosophy and reason, logically speaking, you cannot prove a negative. You can only prove a positive. Okay? And what that means then is that atheistically speaking, one cannot prove that there is no God. One can only prove that there is a God. That's just the basics of logic. You can't prove a negative, you can only prove a positive, okay? The only way to prove a negative is to gain universal, complete knowledge of everything in existence, the entire universe, and then you're then also still proving a positive because you have all the knowledge. And so in that sense, that's where atheism is a faith. It is a belief that there is no God, based off of the material presented to them, based off the evidence that's presented to them, and they say that there's a reason to live as a human being, there's a reason to live for other human beings, there's a reason to continue, for life to continue, for life to flourish, for us to care about the rights of others so it can actually propagate further in the species. There's all these things that atheists talk about. But at the end of the day, realize that an atheistic view is a view that says there is nothing spiritual, there is no God, there is no higher power. There is just the physical realm that exists here. And the New Age belief is one that decentralizes power and says that everybody can sit there and explore the truth of reality on the spiritual side of things for themselves. So I want to take a moment just to clarify that a little bit for you guys. I really wish that there was a way that I could do this class differently, where I could maybe, do videos every week, like live with you guys. It's just not something that we can possibly do. I mean, as evidence, last live video we had, nobody showed up. And I'm not saying that like as a negative. I'm just saying I realize people have lives. I've done online learning for 2 different master's degrees. So trust me, I understand. Like life happens. But also know, if you ever want to ask some questions or whatever, just reach out to me, send me a message. Class is wrapping up, but even after class wraps up, if you have something that comes along your way and you're like, man, I really need to understand this better. Dr. Shay, can you explain to me? Just reach out to me. All right. I'll be more than happy to help you as you try to understand what these people believe, what you believe, and how to live as a human being answering that why question in this world. So again, keep up the good work. Thank you guys for all that you've done. And I hope that clarifies the concept a little bit for you. And finish out the class well. Yeah. All right. That's it for me. Bye.